All right, guys, for our next card, we're going to do what's called triple time stamping. So I've got all my layers here, but let me explain them to you. So I've got a thick vanilla card base. Then I have 3 layers of vanilla, 1, 2, 3. And then I've got 3 layers of colored cardstock, Sahara Sand, Night of Navy, and Mossy Meadow. I'm going to pull the colored pieces out, but I just wanted you to see all those layers kind of to start with. And then what we're going to do is kind of center those 3 remaining layers of very vanilla and then stamp them all at the same time. Okay, so you can, some people like to put just a little bit of snail. What I like to do is put snail, and you saw I tapped on it. And what this does is it holds it together while I'm stamping, but when I stick my finger on it, it keeps it from being like super sticky. And then I can get these layers apart when I'm done. Okay, so I've got my 3 layers together here. Now what I'm going to do is the stamping. So for this, we're going to do, let's see, Mossy Meadow, Sahara Sand, and Night of Navy. I really had to think that one through. I wasn't sure if I used Sahara Sand or Crumb Cake, but because I had Crumb Cake, well, okay, never mind. That's the color of cardstock I was using. All right, so I'm going to start with my largest image, which is going to be that compass, and we used that on the card before, so I'll just clean it really quick. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this in Mossy Meadow. And we're just going to randomly stamp it across all those layers. I do like to give it a good press. Now, don't worry if there's little gaps between, because remember, we're going to put those layers of cardstock, and that's going to cover up all of that. And that's kind of the beauty of triple time stamping. Okay, so I'll do another one right there, and then maybe one more kind of off to the side over there. Okay, next up, I'm going to do my anchor in Night of Navy. So we'll ink that up and stamp this kind of on the in-between areas, like so. Flip this upside down. And maybe a little bit over here. Okay. And last but not least, I'm going to take my rope image, and once again, we'll stamp that. This time it's going to be in Sahara Sand. So I'll just kind of go right across. Now, the nice thing about this is you can sort of stamp this wherever there's some openings, and it kind of just is a filler image, really. Okay, so there's all of our stamping. Now we're going to pop these layers apart, and luckily they just really come apart easily. And then we're going to layer them to their respective pieces of cardstock. I also am die cut one of the label images from our set of framelits, and we're going to stamp that with our sentiment, which is "Let hope be your anchor." And we'll go ahead and just stamp that right on here, like so. Okay, and I'll set that aside for right now. I'm going to close my ink pads up so I don't create any problems for myself. Just, you know, I kind of tend to do that. Okay, and then let's adhere those layers back together. Triple time stamping is one of those fun techniques. It's been around for a while. Personally, I don't do it a ton just because it's a lot of cardstock cutting and I'm kind of lazy. But when I do it, I really like the look. And it's kind of fun because this gives you a fun collage look, but it breaks up those layers a little bit. And do you see how that gap is now completely covered with my layer of cardstock? So that's kind of the beauty of this. And it is a really nice way to do it. I like this particular version using the 3 different colors of cardstock on here, which I think is kind of fun, just to change things up a little bit, you know, from often when I've done it in the past, it's been like all black layers or, you know, not the 3 different colors. So I kind of like that. And it brings out each individual. And then you just want to kind of make sure they're lined up so that they're not too off kilter or anything. Now, all of these layers you could pop up in between the layers if you wanted, or you can just glue them together. If you were to pop them up, I'd probably only do 1 layer because otherwise it gets really thick with all of that cardstock, because this is already going to be pretty sturdy with the cardstock we're using. Now, before I glue this to my card, I want to add some twine. So I'm just going to wrap this around twice, like so. And then I'm actually going to probably just tie it in a little knot. And then I will pop my label up on top of this. I'll just trim these shorter so they don't stick out. And then I'm going to attach one of our little trinkets, which is an anchor. So I really like these trinkets. They're so fun. And they add a nice little embellishment to the card without, of course, it being girly at all. These are manly embellishments. So, and if you want, you could take and just tie a little piece on here if you wanted. I think I might just, in the sample, it on your photo, it's going to show it plain, just glue dotted it to the card. But as I was holding the twine, I'm like, why not add a little twine to this? So there you go. That didn't quite go as I'd planned, but it's not bad. So I'm just going to glue dot that right on. Now, because this is just a little bit of, got a little bit of oomph to it, I'm going to put 2 glue dots on here. And then I'll just add it to my card like so. And I think this is a good thinking of you masculine card, you know. Okay. So there we go.